Hello and welcome to the Tough Cover Podcast, live at 5 on the Painted Lines today on Thursday, June 24th. I am your host, Mark Henry Jr., and you can follow me on Twitter at MarkHenryJr_, and you can follow the podcast at Tough Cover Pod, and you can follow the Painted Lines at the Painted Lines, and please subscribe to the Painted Lines wherever you're watching this on YouTube or Twitch. And if you're watching along, please leave your bets in the comments or any thoughts you have on my picks in the comments. And guess what, folks? I am back. I took a couple days off gambling, and we'll get to that. But on today's show, I have a pick on the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, and I have 3 picks on 1 game in the MLB. So 5 picks on 3 games. In June, we started the first week and a half as hot as possible. The hottest week and a half as we've had on the Tough Cover Podcast. And as gambling works, we were up 30-plus units. We had an all-time worst week here on the Tough Cover Podcast. Came crashing down. And then coupled with the Sixers' loss against the Hawks, I took a few days off because I wasn't seeing the board right. And I really didn't see anything I liked in baseball over the past few days. So it was easy to take a vacation from gambling. But even with that terrible, no good, very bad week, we are still up 10 units in the month of June. And guess what, folks? I love the board tonight. We are back on the Tough Cover Podcast, and we're going to finish June off strong and keep it in the positive for June on the Tough Cover Podcast. And we have been positive in every month so far, and we're going to keep that going today in June, starting on June 24th to finish this last week off strong. So at 7-10, my first pick, we're going to start it off in the MLB. I have the Boston Red Sox plus 115 at the Tampa Bay Rays for 2 units. I love this play here. The Red Sox hit 286 against Michael Wacha. By the way, a lot of these stats that I'm getting, I've never said this before, are from dailybaseballdata.com. Free plug, but great website, especially for MLB gambling. So Verdugo and Bogarts absolutely rake Wacha. The Red Sox have especially crushed righties all year. Boston's top bats in Bogarts, Devers, Martinez, and Verdugo all own an OPS over 900 against righties this year. The Rays, on the other hand, bat 105 against Nick Pivetta, even though they have been traditionally very good against righties this year. They are 2 for 19 in 22 plate appearances against Pivetta. Before last night's win for the Rays, they had lost 7 in a row. Their pitchers have also taken a considerable dip in production and spin rate since the crackdown on sticky stuff, and that has especially affected the Rays' bullpen ERA. The winner of today's game is the AL East leader for the day, and I believe that will be the Boston Red Sox. But this isn't my only 2-unit play on this game. I have 3 2-unit plays on this game, and I have the Red Sox team total over 4.5 for 2 units at minus 110, and I also am reaching across the aisle, and I have the Rays team total over 4.5 minus 110. You may ask, why not just take over 9? I initially liked over 9 because all 5 games between Tampa and Boston have went over this year. But in 4 of those 5 games, they each have scored over 4.5. So pretty simply, I'm trying to go 3-0 instead of 2-0, or 2-1 instead of 1-1. So that's the reasoning behind 3 2-unit plays on the game. The Red Sox money line, the Red Sox over 4.5, and the Rays over 4.5. I think the Red Sox get after Wacha because of the stats that I gave earlier, and they get after a depleted Rays bullpen. While I like the Pivetta matchup with the Rays, I don't like the Red Sox bullpen. So if Pivetta can't go deep into the game, the Rays will put some runs on the board. So I love all 3 plays in this game here. So we are moving on to hockey. 8 o'clock, we have a Marky Puck special. The Montreal Canadiens plus 130 versus the Vegas Golden Knights for 1 unit. I also have the Canadiens plus 400 to win the series for 1 unit to win 4 units. And I also have Canadiens plus 1,100 for 1 unit to win 11 units to win the Stanley Cup. I already have, like I said, the series future and the Stanley Cup future. Why not put another unit for fun down on the Canadiens? Montreal continues to shock the world and are up 3-2 on the Vegas Golden Knights, who have been favored in every game this series and are again tonight. Marky Pucks is 15-9 in the NHL playoffs, and that is primarily at plus value with the Islanders and the Canadiens. I'll put my faith in Carey Price yet again. Go Habs, go. And we are moving on to my last pick of the night at 9 o'clock. My best bet is the Phoenix Suns minus 115 at the LA Clippers for 4 units. I just don't get this line. I get it's a trap. I'll walk right into it. I don't care. I'm back for the first day in a couple of days. I'm willing to take a trap bet. Everyone's going to be on the Suns. The public, 70% on the Suns. I see the sharps are all over the Suns. I do not care about line movement in this game. I have full faith that Phoenix will win this game and go up 3-0. They have all the momentum after last game's crushing, brutal defeat on that Valley Oop, as they're calling it. I think I've bet against the Clippers in Game 3, down 2-0 in each series this so far in the playoffs. I'm willing to do it again, and if they go to the goddamn NBA Finals and go down 2-0, I'll probably do it again. I think the Clippers needed a game without Chris Paul, and they failed to do so. I think the Suns role players have gained great confidence. Ayton, not a role player, but probably their third guy, has averaged 22 and 12 on 76% in this series and has taken a leap in these playoffs. Without Kawhi, the Clippers need to make such an absurd amount of threes to compete due to how brutal their interior defense is against Ayton. Boogie has been absolutely killed by Ayton. So if Zubac gets in foul trouble, they have no second option to slow down Ayton. So the only combat to that is taking 1,000,000 threes and making all of them. And they've done that so far. They've taken an absurd amount of threes, and they made 40.5% of them on 40.5 attempts in the first 2 games of this series, and they still couldn't win. And that was without Chris Paul. So that seems like an anomaly to me that can't keep up in terms of three-point shooting for the Clippers. And Phoenix has only shot at 32.8% from 3 on 12 less attempts per game. That feels just like that gap can narrow a little bit in percentages and attempts, and I expect to see that tonight, and I expect Chris Paul to change that a lot on both sides of the ball. And like I said, a low-key X factor in this game will be Zubac's foul trouble, because they really have no other option to go against Ayton. So reading off my plays, like I've been trying to keep these Tough Cover podcasts short when I do them to get the picks out as soon as possible for you guys to get the information and put it in. At 7-10, I have the Red Sox plus 115 at the Rays for 2 units. I have the Red Sox team total over 4.5 minus 110 for 2 units. I have the Rays team total over 4.5 minus 110 for 2 units. And then at 8 o'clock, I have the Canadians plus 130 in the game tonight versus the Vegas Golden Knights for 1 unit. I also have the Canadians plus 400 to win the series, 1 unit to win 4 units. They are up 3-2. And I have the Canadians plus 1,100, 1 unit to win 11 units to win the Stanley Cup. And then my best bet, my lock of the night, my play of the day at 9 o'clock, I have the Phoenix Suns minus 115 on the money line. I should have taken them -1 where I saw them earlier. I see that they're around -1.5 now because the public has bet it up. I would still take 1.5, or if you want to eat the money line, I'm fine with that too. I ate the money line at -115 instead of -1 at -111. So that was my reasoning behind taking the money line, but that is my best bet. Suns -115 at the Clippers for 4 units. That is my picks for the night. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being a part of the Tough Cover Click, and thank you for being here on the Painted Lines. Follow at the Painted Lines and follow me at Mark Henry Jr. _ Please subscribe wherever you're watching this to the Painted Lines and enjoy the winners.